the other thing I want to talk about, Nathan, a little bit is the Packers. I mean, this has kind of become a yearly thing with them now. I mean, they won the Super Bowl in 2010. 2011, they're 15-1, the number one seed. They lose to the Giants in the Divisional Round. 2014, they lose to the Seahawks in the NFC Championship game on some questionable calls and a Hail Mary pass by Russell Wilson. But nonetheless, they were ahead in that game in 2014, 16-0, and they lost the game. Okay, they lost in 2018 or 2019 when the 49ers went to the Super Bowl. They lost to the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. Right. Last year, they lost to the Buccaneers in the NFC Championship game. This year, they lose in the Divisional Round. Okay, I say all that to say, Aaron Rodgers is not getting it done. Yeah. Okay, the Packers are not getting it done. So what does that tell you? I mean, is it time for a rebuild? Is it time for them now to say, okay, and I think they've got some cap issues coming into the offseason. So do they have to restructure this team, or do they try to hold on to Rodgers and Devontae Adams and stay cap strained and not be able to add any other pieces?
Well, really, especially after the way their season ended this year, why are they so concerned about trying to keep Aaron Rodgers? It's like they're like, don't leave us. Like, I would say, yeah, see ya. Like, first of all, he obviously doesn't want to be there.
Right.
He's causing so many problems. Why do you really want him there? I mean, the guy's a great quarterback, but you're not. Let's say, well, if you don't have Rodgers next year, you can forget they're not going to win anything. Well, they didn't win anything this year. I mean, yeah, they got to the playoffs, but does that really matter? They lost, right? So if they miss the playoffs next year with some bozo at quarterback, the season's the same result.
Right.
So why are they? It seems like, and I think Rodgers knows. It seems like he feels like he can do whatever he wants and act however he wants because he knows that they just. They're dying to keep him, and it's like they feel like they put up with anything. Just don't leave us, Aaron. It's like, why do they feel that way? Really? I mean, he's a great quarterback, no question about it. Like, technically a great quarterback.
Yeah, he's an MVP,
but he's not winning much for you.
No, he's not.
I saw an interesting thing too and I love Brett Favre. He's a better quarterback.
I know what you're going to say, but go ahead.
But I saw somebody online saying the Packers have had two of the greatest quarterbacks of all time
for 25 years.
For like 25 years, and they've had two Super Bowls.
Right. Right.
I mean,
that's amazing, isn't it?
I mean, the Giants have had Eli Manning, who you can say what you want about him. He's not that great of a quarterback. They have two Super Bowls in like in a span of 10 years.
And you would argue that he's definitely below the level of Favre and Rodgers.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I like him as a quarterback, but he's below their level. And they had two Super Bowls within under 10 years.
Right.
So there's something strange about that. I don't know. But my point is, considering all that, I don't see why the Packers don't just get rid of Rodgers. I mean, if Rodgers were younger, middle of his career, maybe not. But he's in the end of his career. He doesn't want to be there. Just say forget it. Well, I would take it out of his. I saw something where he said Rodgers that he would make a decision before NFL free agency.
Yes, he did, which is good.
If I was the Packers, I'd take it out of his hands. We don't want you back.
Well, they're not going to do that. But I think what. Let me put it this way: while we're sitting here doing this podcast, I guarantee you the Packers brass is sitting down discussing. What are we going to do? Because here's the issues they're facing, okay? You're cap constrained going into next year, which means you got to make some decisions. You can't bring everybody back under that situation. Because remember, you got to have cap space to sign your draftees, okay? So you got to have some cap space. So they're going to have to jettison some players. Now, you can jettison some guys that you don't really need to come back, but that's not going to save you tremendous cap space. If they figure out a way to bring Rodgers and Devontae Adams back, they're not going to have any room for anybody else.
And it's going to be pretty much the same season next year. They're going to be pretty good in the regular season. They're going to make the playoffs, and then what makes you think they're not going to do anything different in the playoffs?
That's right.
They lost to the 49ers team that didn't really dominate them. I mean, they should have won, really, the Packers.
Now here's what I think is going to happen, and you and I discussed this a little bit off the air. I think one of the dominoes has fell that I thought might happen. The Broncos have just hired Nathaniel Hackett, who was the Packers offensive coordinator, as their head coach. It's not old or not. It's well-known news. Let me put it that way. That Rodgers liked Hackett, Devontae Adams liked Hackett. There was a good working relationship. Now, here's what I think is going to happen. All right, Rodgers said last offseason when he was saying, I don't want to play for the Packers, but that he wanted to go to Denver. Okay, one of the teams he wanted to go to.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so here's what I think is going to happen. I think the Denver Broncos, now that they have Hackett, The Broncos are not a bad football team. Okay, they need a quarterback badly, right?
Yeah.
Okay, they had what's his name, Bridgewater, hurt. They got
that other guy was the main guy, but he got hurt, right? So they put Bridgewater.
no.
Right
they signed Bridgewater in the offseason. He started the season. Yeah.
What's that other guy's name?
Drew Lock.
Drew Lock.
Yeah,
they didn't mean for him to be the starter. Okay.
Well, he was the starter,
right? But
I don't think they believed in him.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think what's going to happen is now the Broncos are going to say, look, we'll give the Packers. It's going to take 3 first-round picks and some players. Well, but hear me out. Not 3 first rounds to get Rodgers, but I think they're going to want to get Rodgers and Devontae Adams. Adams is a free agent, all right? So if Rodgers doesn't come back, there's no reason to bring Adams back, okay?
No,
so I think you sign Adams and trade him to the Broncos, along with Rodgers. You get 3 first-round picks and maybe either Noah Fant, their tight end, the Broncos, or Jerry Jeudy, their wide receiver they drafted from Alabama. So now the Packers have something to build with, right? I mean, they've got a couple receivers and a good tight end. They've got the guy they drafted. I don't know if he's going to be the quarterback or not, Trey Lance or whatever his name was, or not Trey Lance, but Jordan Love, the guy that they drafted a few years back that Rodgers didn't like. So I think that's what's going to happen. I mean, it's really the only thing you can do.
Why wouldn't Adams, if he's a free agent, why wouldn't he just sign with the Broncos? Why would he sign with the Packers?
Because
I know the Packers might like that.
Yeah.
But why would he do that?
Well, because then it becomes a bidding war, right? Because then if the Broncos want him, they might have to outbid some other team who's giving him a big contract.
Yeah, but then he runs the risk of actually having to play for the Packers next year if he signs with the Packers.
No. What I'm saying is there'll be negotiations between the Packers and the Broncos. In other words, if the Broncos want Rodgers, Adams will say, "Well, I'll go too," and the negotiation will be, "Well, we need to sign you first and then trade you." Okay.
I guess, but I'm just thinking if the Broncos want Adams or Rodgers, they'll just tell Adams, "Hey, you're a free agent. You want to sign?" You're like, "All right."
Yeah, but if you're Adams, then the situation would be, okay, fine. What do you want to pay me? Maybe I can get 10 million more than that from somewhere else.
Yeah,
it's all about money,
right? But I don't see how the Packers sign changes that. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. But anyways, that's not a bad idea. Yeah.
Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is I find it hard to believe that the Packers are going to have Aaron Rodgers next year.
No, I don't think they will.
Right.
And really though, I know what you're saying with the Broncos, but yeah, I guess if you're the Broncos, that's not a bad move because you're putting pretty much all your chips in like the Rams did this year to try to win the Super Bowl like in the next year or two.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, but again, I don't know.
To steal the line from any given Sunday, Aaron Rodgers has 2 or 3 good years.
He does. But again, though, we get back to: is there something just wrong with the Packers franchise or the way they build a team around their quarterbacks to explain how they only have 2 Super Bowls with Favre and Rodgers, or is there something about Favre and Rodgers about not getting it down in the playoffs? You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
So in other words, would you?
Yeah. Well,
in other words, if the Broncos do what you said, they're going to obviously be very good in the regular season. They're going to make the playoffs, but. Is it just like, Aaron Rodgers is...
okay, well, let me say this. First of all, let's not compare Rodgers and Favre.
No, I'm not trying.
Here's why I say that. You don't remember this because you were just a little baby, but Favre ran up against that Cowboy team. They lost to the Cowboys 2 or 3 times, either in the Divisional Round or the NFC Championship. That was the Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Irvin. All right. And then they lost in the Divisional Round to the 49ers with Steve Young and Terrell Owens. So, yeah, they did lose, but they lost to much better teams than Rodgers is losing to.
Let me quick. I was just posing this because I felt like if I was going to address this, I had to throw Favre in Rodgers.
No, you're right.
But I think Favre is much better than Rodgers as far as, like, getting it done in the playoffs.
Yes.
Even though the results are the same, you make a good point, too. I was just trying to say I'd be fair. And
you're right. No, I'm not disagreeing with you.
But I would rather have Favre on my team than Rodgers.
Yeah. Yeah, but to answer to address your point, is there something wrong with the quarterbacks or is there something wrong with the team?
And it sounds like if you're going to say something wrong with the quarterback, it'd have to be more Rodgers than Favre.
Much more Rodgers than Favre because, and again, we don't know what goes on inside that locker room or inside.
Like he has a good attitude.
He doesn't have a good attitude.
Not just the last couple of years, just in general.
Just in general. I mean, he sits on the side, he smirks. He's just he's a jerk basically when it comes to football. I mean, he may be a great guy off the field. I don't know, but my point is, I think the problem is, they don't have enough space to sign some key free. they lost a couple really good linebackers a few years. One to the Giants. I think two of them went to the Giants. My point is, when you've got Rodgers under such a big contract and Devontae Adams and all these other guys, it's hard to have a lot of cap space to pay some key free agents or to keep guys.
So what's Rodgers' deal exactly this year? Is he under?
I think he becomes a free agent this year.
He's a free agent.
Yeah, okay. I think so. Yeah.
I saw some picture. I don't know if there's any rumors of this or it was just fans wishing for this, but I saw somebody photoshopped him in a Colts uniform. The Colts could use a quarterback.
Colts could use him very much.
I don't know if he'd want to go there, but they have a good team too. They have a
very
better team than the Broncos.
They have a very good
team. He could win at the Colts if he wanted to go.
That's exactly right. Anyway, I think we're getting a little bit off topic, which is fine because I think that's needed. But let me say this though. I think that it's going to be a very interesting offseason. I'm looking forward to some of our podcasts over the next couple months because think of all the teams right now that need to make quarterback decisions, right? The Titans need to make a quarterback decision. The Colts need to make a quarterback decision. The Broncos, the Packers ultimately, right, need to make a quarterback decision. The Giants need to make a quarterback decision. The Browns need to make a quarterback. I mean, there's a lot of teams that have to decide, is this our guy or we need a new guy?
And there's a lot of teams that Rodgers could go to that he could win with immediately because they're just missing the quarterback. All the teams you just named, except for the Giants.
Except for the Giants. That's right. That's right. That's right.